I have had a griddle for 5 years and made a lot of bacon, eggs, hash browns, and French toast for my family. The best advice I can give you about cooking on a Blackstone breakfast is make what your wife likes. Well, also cooking order and learn your temperatures. But the first part, that's the most important part. So for temperature, my griddle is around 375 to 400 degrees, and I put down 2 cups of hash browns first in some avocado oil because they take the longest. So this brings us to the cooking order, which for this cook today, we'll start with hash browns, then we'll go to the bacon, follow that up by some French toast, and then I usually do eggs last, but I'm trying something new this time, and I'll go over that a little more detail in a minute. Those are frozen hash browns that I sat on the counter for about an hour while I prepped everything up. You can use fresh. You could pop them in the microwave for 30 seconds as well if you'd like, or you could just put them straight on the griddle frozen if you want. In my opinion, defrosting them doesn't change the quality of the hash browns. It just speeds up the cooking process. Personally, I probably like the fresh hash browns better, but the convenience of the frozen ones is hard to beat. So I always keep a bag laying around in my freezer for whenever I want to whip up a Blackstone breakfast. Hit them up with some Detective Mike Lowry's seasoned salt and a little bit of pepper, then a little more oil. If you want them crispy, you got to be heavy-handed with the oil, okay? After they're all mixed together, I'll make 2 piles and then even more oil going on the bottom. We're almost shallow frying these things. Here comes the star of the show, a pound of bacon. You know what they say, a pound of bacon a day keeps the vegetarians away. I try to spread this out on the griddle wherever there's space around the hash browns. If some bacon grease gets in your hash browns, don't worry. It'll just make them taste that much better. Then my scrambled eggs are going on the griddle in a little pot. This is my first time doing this. I have 5 eggs in this pot. I don't know why 5. It's just a real random number, but it seems to be perfect amount for me, my wife, and my 4-year-old son. I add a little bit of water, then I whisk them together right in the pot, and I threw in some butter. My goal is to slowly cook them in the pot so I don't have to pour them on the griddle at the very end and maybe get them dirty from the bacon fond or grease and little brown spots. My wife and my son, they don't like what I would call dirty eggs with brown bits and whatnot in them, so that's why I tried it this way. I flipped the bacon regularly to hopefully prevent it from burning, which almost didn't work, but again, I'll go over that in a little bit. Then I'll whisk the eggs, and nothing's really happening yet. That's okay. We'll add some salt and pepper to the eggs. I continue to flip the bacon, then move the eggs to the corner with my little wire rack. If the eggs cook too quickly, I can move them off the griddle or onto the wire rack. I'll move the hash browns to the right side of the griddle or the top of your screen. I'm not flipping them yet, though. I'm just moving them. And you'll notice I have not touched them really at all since making the 2 piles. I left them alone all while the bacon was cooking. I usually go about 10 to 15 minutes at 375 to 400 degrees without touching hash browns. Now, the right burner is all the way off. It will be my warming area. The other 3 burners are around medium and hopefully stay around 375 to 400 for the French toast. Flip the bacon and a few in the middle got a little burnt, a little dark. That's okay. Your griddle is going to have some hot spots. Mine certainly does in the middle. So I'll move the bacon together on one side while I scrape off the griddle. I'll check the temp again with my thermometer and adjust the knobs a bit. Now I move the bacon again to the other side, scrape off the other half of the griddle, getting it ready for this French toast. When the bacon is all done, I put on the little wire rack. I really like this little wire rack, and scrape off whatever's left of the bacon grease to get it ready and check the temperature. Okay, we are at 450, which explains why the bacon burnt a little bit. And you can see the closer we get to that burner that's off, we're going lower in temp, which is good because that's my holding zone, just to keep things warm, not to cook them. So this is way too hot for French toast. If you want to see my temp chart here, it's in my ebook. I like to do French toast around 375 to 400. That's my general cooking, pancakes, French toast, a lot of stuff. That's why I'm going to go ahead and put some water down to hopefully lower the temperature of the griddle. And then we'll check it again. And it looks like we're a little under 400, which is what I would like to be at. Here's my French toast batter in a glass dish because the sides of this Blackstone get real hot and will melt plastic. I know from experience. The ingredients for the French toast batter and the recipe will just be down in the description. This is my first time adding flour. It did thicken up the French toast batter a little bit, worked out well. I mixed that with the milk first so it wouldn't clump. And everything else is pretty much normal French toast stuff. It's just like, butter, egg, sugar, vanilla, cinnamon. And I added a little bit of rum. All right, we'll get the party started. My 4-year-old was real lit after this breakfast. I'm just kidding. The alcohol cooks out. Don't call Child Protective Services on me, please. Check the eggs before we put this French toast down. And they're starting to set up a little bit. Again, this is my first time doing the pot method with the eggs, and it just went okay. I'm not giving it my stamp of approval yet. I need to test it out a few more times to see if it's actually worth the extra work. The other thing I like about this big glass dish is I can get 4 pieces of Texas toast in there, which is better than like a bowl or something. And this is actually Aunt Millie's thick cut Texas toast, which is the sponsor of today's video. If you watch the channel for a while, you know I am a big Texas toast on the griddle guy. Lots of uses for it. Grab yourself some Aunt Millie's. You will not be disappointed when you use this on your griddle. I don't really soak this bread in the batter. Just kind of put it in and flip it. So only like 10 seconds total. Then put it on the griddle. I'd recommend dragging it along the sides to get the excess batter off before you put it on the griddle. This will also ensure that the recipe below will be the right amount to do all 12 pieces of Texas toast that come in the bag. Scrambled eggs are starting to come together nice. Let's flip the French toast. About 2.5 to 3 minutes is how long I cook them. And we'll flip the hash browns. Ooh, I like how those look. Again, 15 minutes, and then I moved them to that outside burner that was off. Okay, back to flipping the French toast, and darn it, a few of them got a little dark in that same spot in the middle because that's a hot spot, and because honestly I spent too long admiring my hash browns. I should have just flipped all the French toast, but I'm out here hot dogging, patting myself on the back, getting excited about these crispy golden hash browns. Anywho, you can see some of the pieces near the corner didn't get as done, so I'm moving them to the middle where it's hotter. You just got to learn your griddle. I'm got hot spots and cool spots, but usually the corners are not quite as hot as the middle. The eggs aren't quite done, so I'm going to move them to that middle hot spot and take any French toast which is finished up to my warming zone with the bacon and the potatoes. Now the eggs ended up in some little pieces because I was using the whisk the whole time. I kind of prefer big fluffy eggs, so I think when I try this again I won't use a whisk. Maybe I'll use a little rubber spatula. Again though, this is my first time trying it out. Didn't go terrible. I'll test it again, but I also don't think it went well enough for me to be like, you have to try this new method. The jury's still out on this. Grab a fancy white plate I just bought for YouTube videos, trying to keep up with the Joneses on the internet, and here's the French toast, followed up by some bacon. Some of it's burnt, but whatever, it's still bacon. Golden hash browns, eggs. Then we'll make it snow with a little bit of that powdered sugar. My ebook is on your screen, and so is a video for 10 more everyday regular people Blackstone recipes. Thanks for watching. Keep on griddling, friends.